Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sunburst News and Analysis. And today we are at the top of this hour looking at business and technology news from the US and around the world. In this podcast series, whether you're joining us on our podcast or you're joining us on Clubhouse, we look at business news, we look at stock market headlines, we look at investing, we look at commodities, we look at forex, we look at cryptocurrency news, we look at insurance news, personal finance, startup, real estate, energy news, amongst other important news subjects from around the world. One of the headline stories this morning coming out of the US, it's really on the dollar. The dollar is up after data signals a brighter outlook for US business activity. And according to Reuters, we have seen the dollar rose again to the euro today, Tuesday, after data shows that US business activities contracting for the seventh straight month in January, but with signs that the downturn was moderating. And this was the trigger for the up surge in the dollar. So while U.S. business activities shrank in January, the downturn moderated across both manufacturing and services sector for the first time since September, and business confidence strengthened as the new year begins. So this is interesting news coming out of the US. So it just looked like another piece of data showed that the Fed has been preaching that the economy is resilient enough to take on more hikes. So signs are that there might be more hikes. So the Fed fund futures see only 2 more quarter point rate hikes by the Fed at the peak of around 5% by June. So we're watching out to see what happens, whether the Federal Reserve insists that it still has 75 basis point of increase in the pipeline, remains anyone's guess. So it is really clear looking at the PMIs from the US that the economy might be leading towards a probable expansion, but this has not really taken off as many thought. So the dollar actually extended its gains against the euro, but remained at 9 months low. So watch out for these and other news stories on currencies. You can check Sunburst Markets and other of your favorite news sources for news around this. So what is happening in stock markets? Looking at biggest movers early pre-market. So you can look at stocks like Bed Bath and Beyond. You can look at Verizon. You can look at Lululemon, and you can see moves across the board in various stocks. For example, Verizon shares have slipped 1.51% after the company posted mixed results for 2022 fourth quarter. So earnings met analyst predictions. But what happened was they fell short of the real estimate. So if we look at Bed Bath and Beyond, the meme stock actually gained 5.78 points, building on its dramatic start to the year. So some of the stocks that you want to be watching there, if you look at Lyft, the ride sharing stock also gained 3.4% this morning. an upgrade from its previous rate. If you look at J&J, you would begin to see that the drug manufacturer ticked higher by less than 1% after the company reported mixed quarterly financial results. So watch out for what is going on with Johnson & Johnson out there. If you look at Blackstone, the shares are up this morning 1.3%. Lululemon fell 2% after the stock was downgraded by some analysts, warning that a reset is coming for the apparel stock, and noting the company is facing an inflection point in its growth. So these and some other important stock market stories for you to watch. Check Sunburst Markets and other market news sources. Other important business news, talking about QuickNote, it raised 60 million in Series B at 800 million valuation. So to watch how fundraising it's going with QuickNote there. Something to watch, the development platform that help Web3 builders to create apps. So it has closed the 60 million Series B funding round at around 800 million valuation. And this has led to a tenfold participation with different global companies taking part in this fundraiser. So the co-founder and CEO Alex told Coindex that the funding round effectively closed in December, meaning the imposition of centralized crypto exchange FTX was ongoing during the fundraiser process. So watch out for these and other news concerning fundraising. Check out Sunburst Markets and other stories out there. So let's look at other important stories looking at world oil. So Biden criticizes U.S. oil refiners as profit source. So the president Biden, it's really worried that while the American public are looking for resources, they're looking for oil, but oil refiners are actually making more profit. Another interesting story out of Energy News 247, really on looking at weather disasters. The US had 18 different billion-dollar weather disasters in 2022. Check out details of this story on Energy News 247. So this really talking about some of the energy disasters that happened in the US in the past year. And this is all thanks to the emerging global warming that is happening. Look at hurricane, look at different disasters that happened and affecting the US economy. So check out these and other news stories. So Texas utility would close remaining coal-fired units. So talking about reducing coal. So the utility in Texas would close the remaining coal-fired units at the transition into green. So these and other interesting news stories on energy News 247. So Blackstone unit lines up credit facilities for 15 gigawatt pipeline. So check out these and what is happening with Blackstone and this new pipeline that would be developed. So Other stories include community solar and who is benefiting from it. Who is benefiting from community solar? You want to check out this story and others that are making headlines in energy news. So China will add 70 gigawatt of coal and gas-fired generations in 2023. These lobby groups talking about China clean energy are raising the alarm about China increasing 70 gigawatt of coal and gas-fired energy generation in 2023. News on EVs. How are EVs doing? Are they affordable? What are the benefits of greener driving? Even in an energy crisis. So you want to check out these and other interesting energy news from around the world. So also news from California, Arizona, 10 Westlink transmission line breaks ground. You want to see that story, go to Energy News 247 and read more about this story. So these are some of the news stories we bring to you on your news headlines. Thank you for joining us. If you are joining us on Clubhouse and you have any specific story you want us to talk about, share in the comment section. Give us input if you want to be a guest on our podcast, or you want to be a moderator in our Clubhouse. Let us know. We'll always have you. Otherwise, thank you for joining us on Energy News, Business and Technology News Updates this hour. This has been your host, myself, Vivian Atwood. Thank you.